One morning the captain wake, he wake the boatman. Boatman wake, he wake the bowman. Bowman wake with the paddle in hand. All I want is a long and strong. Long and strong is too much for me. Long and strong is eternity.
This is the Guyana of today, but thankfully, there's a solution to everything. Want to sanitize Georgetown and end our reputation as the filthiest country in the entire Caribbean? Here are a few opinions with regard to the 3 problems listed, all of which severely impact our sewage problem. Solution number 1, the beginning of an end to garbage. Take a trip to Guyana, and you might be convinced Guyanese are just a bunch of dirty people. And for a while, we were of that same opinion. But if you took a cold, hard look at this place, at the system within which we exist, you'll find it positively promotes nastiness. Have you ever seen one of these? They're all over the place, and we don't know just how much has been spent by the government alone on anti-littering and public information campaigns over the years, but we'll tell you one thing. 2 major problems exist which hamper these efforts before they even leave the ground. First and foremost is the severe shortage of bins in and around the capital. Even though you have a please do not litter sign, use garbage bins, I don't think you could walk this entire street and find a single garbage bin anywhere. Literally top to bottom. That's Border Market on the end down there, and that's Winifred Gardens Primary School. Y'all see any bins on this road?
Bins?
Yeah. No bins? No. With the exception of Camp Street, Main Street and the seawalls, where bins have been installed mainly at the expense of persons in the private sector, there is an almost total lack of bins anywhere in Georgetown. What good is it spending money on advertising and public information? What good is it to even sporadically fine people for littering if they aren't given viable and consistent alternatives? Every day, drive up and down the coast and you'll see people sweeping their yards. And at least twice a year, there's havoc as everybody ritualistically cleans the entire house top to bottom. So what about outside? No bins. And waste collection by the mayor and city council and many of the neighborhood democratic councils outside Georgetown is wholly insufficient in terms of both frequency and scope. In fact, many residents have completely lost faith in the collection system and have taken waste disposal into their own hands. Burning and dumping have become some of the default methods of disposal for much of the civilian population as a consequence of this infrequent collection and as a result of a severe lack of enforcement by relevant bodies such as the EPA in prosecuting persons involved in these clandestine activities. Add to this the fact most people don't know just how toxic the garbage they're burning is, or what impact it's likely to have on the environment and potentially their own health in real terms, and we're in a really bad place. And it won't get better until we start demanding it as our right. A case in point. Almost 2 months ago, we posted this video of horses eating their way through the garbage pile at the head of Camp and Lamaha streets. It's safe to say at least 1,000 children and adults use this avenue every day to get to and from work and school. With the erection of this new office building at the head of Camp Street and the opening of the new GRA office here, there are far more people using this street now, and the numbers will increase. You'd think someone saw the video and was ashamed enough to make sure they're all emptied in a timely manner from now on, so we wouldn't have dirty videos like this to show you, but that's just not been the case. Instead, we revisited Camp Street this Sunday to find every single bin had been removed. No collection procedure in place. No new bins put up to cater for the fact the old bins were crappy because they had big holes in them. They've just been removed outright and not been replaced. So there are now no bins on Camp Street. That was the location of another bin, and you can go right down. You won't find another one, friends. It's outside the Guyana Revenue Authority office. Hundreds of people come here every day and step out into streets with absolutely no bins. That's St. Margaret's Primary over there. Those children walk down here. The children from Christ Church Secondary School and going further down Queen's College, the Technical Institute, all use this thoroughfare in the afternoons after school and in the mornings to go to school. And it's reasonable to assume quite a few of them would have some litter to dispose of. So Camp Street was one of the few streets that had any bins available for people to, throw their waste. Camp Street was one of the few streets with any bins available for people in the country, the other street being Main Street. Every single bin. And well, we see it's now been taken off the list. This is definitely not the direction we need to be going. We need more bins. We need bins that are secure and not full of holes. But this is unacceptable, to remove the few bins that we do have and then chastise Guyanese for being dirty people.
What's more, we found open bags of trash in the corner of Camp and Kwamina streets, which seem to come from the Guyana Revenue Authority offices, and you wouldn't believe what Real Guyana discovered. This is where your personal files and documents are ending up.
Let's take a closer look at this garbage here. We're here on Camp and Kwamina Street, opposite the TVG building and just down the road from the GRA headquarters. And there's a pileup of garbage that includes not only some household waste, you can see some chief seasoning down there, and a few meat trays, but you've got tons of this stuff here. These are the packages that printer paper come in. Now, who would be disposing of such a large quantity of printer paper? Well, I know the GRA prints out a lot of information every day. I wonder if we could get close enough and see if there are any names. Oh my god. They've got people's identity cards in the mail. Driver's license. GRA are dumping people's personal information in the streets. That's a driver's license for someone called Rajpati. There's an ID card here, a photocopy of someone's ID card.
We fear the day identity theft becomes a serious issue in Guyana with this kind of activity going on. So we have even less bins in the city now than when we started. Have a look at the link below, also posted in the description when you're done, and have a thorough read. We think this is the study the American ambassador was likely referencing on World Environment Day, as he spoke about how America came to change their littering habits. KAB have been conducting research for 30 years or so into changing littering behavior, and their work has gotten such good results, we believe Guyana would do good to shape future policy with this document firmly in mind. People are fed up of seeing more do not litter signs than bins. First, the city must be flooded with garbage bins. Garbage bins fit for purpose, we might add, because even though these privately donated bins were a step in the right direction, they are unsecured and unfit for purpose because of these gaping holes. Most people have small items to throw away, and it's not encouraging if what you throw in at the top simply falls out again at the bottom. Ideally,
No one should have to walk more than 2 minutes in any direction before they bump into a trash receptacle. That's how you start making the case for a litter-free environment. Then you run a public information campaign in full knowledge the advertising money isn't being spent in vain because the ads actually reference something physically visible in the environment. After the bins are up and running and the information is being distributed through the relevant channels, the next thing that needs to be addressed is the consistent collection, and we can't stress this enough. Half the job of keeping a country clean is asking citizens not to contribute to the filth. The other half is making sure systems are in place to keep the city clean. It has been proven many times and is evident to even a casual observer that people are more likely to add rubbish to rubbish. You may not always analyze it in this context, but piles of rubbish on the road have something to say. Their presence speaks to the ordinary Guyanese on a subconscious level, saying it's okay to do the same, which brings us to point 3, enforcement. There are numerous laws, treaties, and regulations dealing with the protection and maintenance of our environment. They're just not being enforced. And this has to change, otherwise the subtle message being pushed at the public is that it's okay to continue doing more of the same when it's not. A lack of enforcement reinforces the notion to people we believe have been socialized into their nasty habits that there are no personal consequences forthcoming. Further, a lack of proper education on the topic means many are ignorant of the environmental consequences their actions have.
I just want a couple comments on who pays you to throw rubbish down here.
Born in this rubbish.
Yeah, I understand you're burning
Born
it.
in it. Not that I'm dumping it
Yeah.
and left it. Born in the sea.
But it don't look good.
It didn't happen to nobody.
Yes, it is. Look, the smoke,
Nobody never complained.
plastics.
But the gardens, that's straight ahead.
There's only because of the wind direction, right?
You know, this one right there, National Park Commission, one right beside the garden, there the trail is coming.
The National Park Commission has burned garbage
Right there, right beside the garden there.
in the gardens there. So who pays you to dispose of this stuff here?
Yeah, for you, the people that will live right opposite the and Bel Air people, right there where you.
So people from Bel Air are paying you to dump garbage down here?
That's burn it, right?
Yeah.
That's it, don't dump it nowhere. So somebody burn it here. Don't affect nobody.
But to you, dumping and
Burning
this is not dumping to you?
burning.
It's burning.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not me. Don't mistake.
It's
Burning.
not dumping, it's burning.
And the things with the oxen and things.
But brother, I understand you're making your bread, right?
Yeah,
You know it's
daily
toxic, the chemicals released from burning the garbage.
bread. Well, the people them tell me not to. And nobody. Right?
Thank you.
The people enforcing the penalties also need to be paid properly and monitored themselves to reduce the likelihood of bribery and corruption, something else much of the Guyanese public have become socialized to in the last 4 decades.
Workers there just get pension after 55 years they resign and they get pension till they die. But city council workers don't get a pension. Only officers like town clerk, chief constable, and these people get a pension. The ordinary worker who clean all them drain, he's get a thing named pension scheme where he throw. He don't get gratuity. They're robbing them. I gotta work here till 65 years till I retire. God said this it. Me ain't got no pension for get. Just my pension scheme what through. They're entitled for, which I suppose entitled servicemen. Ask anybody part in the world. City council got a facility.
Years of service.
Years of service. City council don't give years of service. All the big officers them get.
Who never clean a drain.
Never clean a drain. They call them overseer and anything. The ordinary man and getting the facilities. What it should be. You could carry that to the mayor them and find them from there. Why it supposed to be that? Man supposed to get pension if he work. So man work it 35 or 40 get nothing. Does a pension scheme that throw again. Easy.
Normality must be reclaimed for the future of this land, and you too need to play a part in effecting this change by demanding it as your right, your constitutional right. When people accept any and everything, they'll be given any and everything, so to speak. So, flood the city with bins, clean up and collect the rubbish, enforce penalties, and don't under any circumstances set a bad example.
That's Homestretch Avenue over there, and this is the Botanical Gardens. Every day for the past couple months, I've been passing on a Homestretch, just like that bus there, and noticing smoke, sometimes large billowing plumes of smoke coming from this area, and just could not believe it after speaking to the guy burning rubbish on Sheriff Street. It seemed that they were dumping garbage here, and I've seen an M&CC truck since coming into the location. Why would they be using the national park as a landfill site? It's easy to see how the Repentier started. Here we are in the Botanical Gardens, and these guys are just about to dump some garbage at the brand new landfill site. That's the Commonwealth Youth Program. So this is what the National Parks Commission have been doing for some time, and they burn all this garbage here. You got styrofoam, everything, you name it, you got it. Let's ask how and why.
Hey, this is B thing, this is B National Park thing from B National Park. What's the problem?
No, I know it's a national park,
Yeah.
but I know they're supposed to be dumping
Why?
garbage in here.
Why?
Because there's a landfill site at Hagenbosch. This not been going on for years.
Watch you long, you know what's going on. And watch go the back, see we build a new ground bridge, we got another dumping site at the back. This is a site. We got bulldozer is buried.
How far?
We have a hole there, this room is buried with the bulldozer.
So this been going on for years?
We filling it, we filling it. It's a landfill, and we don't have your own landfill.
It's a landfill.
Yes, it ain't nothing like that. Like how you feel it, my friend.
Oh, because I came last week, nobody was here, but
We have, if you want a story, we have a bulldozer, we got a hole there. When we ready, we bulldoze everything inside.
so who's be burning it?
Them junkie when they're looking for things, now he's burning.
This falls under the Mayor City Council?
No, there's council, not nothing to do with this.
So National Park Commission is separate?
Yes,
Could you direct me to somebody I could talk to, maybe? At an office or something?
we ain't want nobody care with nothing, man. Go for the one and do call it, you want to this here, sir, this is the rubbish from what people dump to the national park. We gotta clean it. This is what we gotta do. This is what. Hey, what's the deep hole we got there?
You don't do this in a national park, in any other parts of the
We
world.
have a hole there. We have a bulldozer. You can come and see that.
You got tires in there, broken glass, wood. And as the man said, junkies.
I want to go up there and see a hole.
I've never seen any bulldozing up in here. I've been here for weeks. I come here.
Go over to the national park. You just can't drive over the Bobcat over here like that. You don't have
Is that the national park?
Yes.
The mayor and city council are about $4 billion in debt, and as such, the limited works in the capital have all but come to a standstill. The $4 billion of taxpayer money that could have bailed them out is being put into this hotel to presumably bring tourists to see what $4 billion could and should have been spent on. Here's hoping they go directly to Kaichor Falls, then go home, so they don't have this to show their friends and family when they return. In any nation, your capital is your pride and joy. Why should it be any different in Guyana? Thankfully, the famous Mandela dump site at the rear of our national cemetery is now closed, but it's worth noting it got so big at one point you could see it from space. Here's the proof. A new dump site has been commissioned much farther away, but the Mayor and City Council and the National Parks Commission have taken it upon themselves to create a number of temporary landfills in the city, which they burn almost daily. One of those is in the Botanical Gardens, clearly visible as you drive down Homestretch Avenue. The other is in the cemetery, in the bit that wasn't a landfill before the Mandela dump site closure. How surprised we were to learn that the Mayor and City Council are actually responsible for most of this. It sets a terrible example for the public to see something like this.
For me, this country needs a recycling plant. Not one, needs one. And if they get one, it will be beneficial to everybody else. So the government is going to bring in revenue. You're going to get half of the plastic bottles that you see on the road. Half of them, not even half, you mightn't see none. Once you get a recycling plant, as we were saying, the people with a scar junkie know, well, look, I could pick up 5 bottles and get $2 for a bottle. You know, you won't see bottles on the ground. And then for me, you can drop your crime rate because, remember, Mark could pick up 120 bottles, whatsoever, you know, you get in a race and you gotta go in trouble, nobody thinks. But, I don't know. It's something I was saying long years ago, since growing up. And after I finally started bringing these plastic bottles and stuff, I've been telling people, I say, you know, this is the only country I know don't recycle bottles. They're trying with the cardboard thing, no? Up the bank.
Yeah, but plastic is just an obvious one to tackle. It's everywhere.
Right.
Every gutter, every canal, every road.
Every you could see a plastic bottle.
Right? Even in the middle of the cemetery.
I tell you. You'll find plastic bottle, but these rubbish here, council itself just bring it in. But what does this do, eh? All the coat is here.
The council brings this rubbish.
Right in here. They got a tractor, they got a truck. Right in here. I ain't got a light. That's why I'm telling you this straight. This is why I witnessed more than 1 or 2 or 3 occasions. You're recycling and you're making. So right away you find revenue coming in. The plant paying for itself. It's not where the government got every month, the government got to pay like bill. They got to pay this, they got to pay workers, the plant do everything. And right away, you create jobs for other people. Okay, let me see, 2, 3, 4, 5 a week, we ain't doing nothing. But they got a recycling plant, we can find something to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rather than there, squatting wrong, you might look at going somebody yard and pick up 2 pieces of line or something. You understand? You should get food in the paper bag. You know, you could remember that here in the grid proof or in the paper boxes, which could be born. I mean, these styrofoam boxes could be born too, right? Now, the next thing the government got to realize, you're making a dump, you're digging hole, you're throwing plastic inside. Tell me which year, with this piece of plastic rotten, plastic rot, it would live for the next 21 years, just like this.
Thousands of years,
Thousands of years, just like this. And this here now will cause erosion on the land. Because remember, if you got 10 bottles in this car now, right? The land just prop up on the bottles at the top and the bottom. So you got a hole. Sometimes one day somebody with enough weight thing prop, it break in, find the whole thing break down. First thing, we got plastic recycling, you won't see a plastic bottle on it. Trust me, I'm telling you this. Guys, when, as I was saying, when the people, as I said, is junkies, that is his terminology, pick up and then gotta move. You of your own self as an individual would start putting it in a bag, put it in the rubber bin, and the plan itself could improvise something like bags or to make some bins, and the brain to put it at different points, and it got bigger on it. All plastic bottles recycled in this bin. I don't think we could go wrong. Just get open the net and get into contact with somebody who's doing waste management business and start finding out how I could get about getting a plan to recycle plastic bottles. The man tell me, Danny, you would do that? I say, yeah, I would do it. But just that me had the money for do it. Because I know when I make a recycling plan, bottle recycling plan, me major customer will be banks. Because remember when I recycle, I'm making back. Look, you know those water bottles? Big water bottles?
Yeah, it's coming a little thing.
A very little thing like this.
Little thing, and
this is the bottle.
Blow it up.
And they just screw it on a thing. And you would spray. Use one way. This is magic. The first time I see it, I tell myself it's magic. I was the drink bottles. Them sweet drink bottles. Some little things up. And I just put it down on the thing and it come up to the size of the drink bottle.
This is a pattern being repeated right across the capital and country for that matter. Top-down disregard for the environment. This is a bin obliquely opposite the office of the president. It's been overflowing with garbage for months and is so noticeable, someone even wrote into the papers about it 2 months ago. It seems neither the president nor anyone closely connected with him or the affairs of office of the president saw the article or the bin or were embarrassed enough to move it. We even took to taking a picture a week to see how long it would take. The bin has been there for so long it's fallen over and been overtaken by weeds. Stuck into the side of the trench opposite the bin is a pole with a dirty Guyanese flag affixed and some cardboard, indicative of the fact a homeless person uses the area to rest. This is in front of Castellani House, the National Art Gallery, the new CIA building, and across the road from the Ministry of Agriculture. The presidential motorcade passes this way just about every morning His Excellency reports for duty. We had a good look at the car, and it's impossible, even with all the tint, that this garbage bin has gone invisible. It sets a terrible example. Next, we have to deal with the clogged drains and waterways in a less reactive manner and start being proactive about it. Every year, with absolute certainty, there's a rainy season. 2 in fact. We know long ahead of time that there will be the increased risk of flooding due to all the water and the fact that the water table becomes saturated and surface runoff will increase. And that water will have nowhere to go if the drains aren't maintained. In addition, the practice of digging the drains up and dumping the contents of the excavator bucket right there on the parapet doesn't only constitute an eyesore, it also seems illogical to do such a thing, especially in the height of the rainy season, when the rains wash much of the mud back in and an extra problem is created with the destruction and pollution of the roadside. This is how some of the drains around the city were cleaned and left after World Environment Day. We'll say no more. The drains need cleaning, and a standard needs to be re-established and enforced with regard to minimum depths. As many drains as possible would also benefit from being relined as they were initially. This would mitigate the contamination of our groundwater. The longer rainwater stays on the surface, the more damage it does in terms of weakening the earth supporting the electricity poles, leading to more blackout, the more it aids in the erosion of roads which have already been poorly constructed, and there is a greater chance of water from the drains mixing with wastewater from the sewage system and posing a health risk to the public. We've long since gone past the point where we urgently need pavements on many of the eroded roadsides around the country and in Georgetown. The size of the road is no longer sufficient to accommodate the volume of vehicular and pedestrian traffic safely. Once the drains are cleared and maintained, pavements provide a cap for the road, and the guttering ensures more efficient rainwater runoff, thus limiting erosion and destruction directly attributable to the yearly floods. Guyana is the second poorest nation in the Caribbean, despite having the most resources, and the least fortunate amongst us simply cannot absorb these costs year after year and progress. It's mentally exhausting at best and can cause tremendous hardship. On the point of public sanitation, it's a no-brainer. Nobody wants to know that the change they're collecting after paying for their meal has been touched by so many people who haven't observed basic hygiene practices. It's simply revolting, and it's best to curb it now. How can people be encouraged to even use the existing facilities when they're so poorly managed they both look and smell like a medieval dungeon? Have a look at the toilets in the City Hall compound. It makes no sense to pass a resolution in Parliament to restore Georgetown to the Garden City when there seems to be no detailed plan in place or forthcoming to outline exactly how we plan on achieving that. $4 billion would have been a fantastic start. Once people aren't peeing in the gutters and crapping in the drains, and the drains are unclogged, so when it rains, water doesn't flood the streets, and there isn't any garbage to mix into it, and the stray animals are picked up so their excrement isn't mixed in as well, then, and only then, will we be on our way out of the jungle city and into the garden. The ballooning homeless population also needs to be engaged and their needs met. It speaks of an unfolding humanitarian crisis, and if you were to base your judgment of our Human Services Ministry, among others, from what you see on the streets, then you might wonder if they're doing any work at all. Good work on tackling the sewage problem, but these other issues need addressing with equal importance if we are to make truly progressive steps in the right direction. Real Guyana joined those voices calling out for local government elections, and we join those who are both frustrated and disgusted with the state of our environment. Let your voice be heard, because you deserve better. And unless more people speak up and speak out, we promise things will get much worse. In addition, we desperately need a public procurement commission to ensure contracts are fairly awarded, there is accountability, and contractors aren't left to run amok, aiding in the destruction of our town with scant regard for constitutional obligations or the environmental and social impact of their activities. It's time to put a stop to the kickback culture which has so consumed Guyana. It's costing us more and more every day. Take a look at how the sewage works are currently being executed and tell us if you don't see the need for proper checks and balances.
Dem a give man rum, dem a give man gin. Woman a dead, ya woman. Dem a give man love like a turtle dove. Woman a dead, ya woman. If me na me come here, me na be no. Woman a dead, ya woman. If me na me come here, me na be no. Woman a dead, ya woman. If me na me come here, me na be no. Woman a dead, ya woman. If me na me come here, me na be no. Woman a dead, ya woman. Dem a give honey, dem a give roti. Woman a dead, ya woman. Dem a give money, dem a give curry. Woman a dead, ya woman. If me not become ya, me not be no woman a dead ya woman. If me not become ya, me not be no woman a dead ya woman. If me not become ya, me not be no woman a dead ya woman. If me not become ya, me not be no woman a dead ya woman.
Timberman, you hear the call. Where you see Panta como, Timberman. Kaiman na pull 'em back. Kaiman na pull 'em back. Adi 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 Kaiman na pull 'em back. Timberman, what make you stall? Where you see Panta como, Timberman.
We'll leave it there for now, but have a serious think about some of the issues raised here and feel free to post your comments and ideas. Guyana isn't all bad, but the overwhelming majority of sites you'll find seek to focus on what good there is, in disregard of the fact that the balance has started to tip the other way a very long time ago. We will not support burying our heads in the sand. It's just not practical. One by one, we must own up to the fact our nation is in crisis. We must look into our hearts and find the love we have for this land and its people, and use both to drive our quest for solutions and to strengthen our resolve to leave a better place for future generations of this land. Children aren't born into a political party. They aren't born racist. They don't care about the color of skin. They're loving and inquisitive with open minds and represent our best hope for a bright future. They deserve better, much better. Almost 2 decades without local government elections is a ridiculous amount of time, and the politics being played with our health and environment between town hall and parliament needs to stop. We believe these measures would be a step in the right direction. If you believe in solutions and see the need for change, then play a part in keeping this conversation alive. If these issues resonate with you, take a moment to hit the like button so more people will see it in their suggestions. Subscribe for alerts when we post in the future, and most importantly, share with whomever you can. Long before Guyana needs a revolution in the streets, we need one to occur in our minds and in our hearts. It's time one people, one nation, one destiny started sounding like our motto again, and less like a sick joke someone scribbled on our coat of arms. Welcome to Guyana. Real Guyana. There's a stain on the rock where they let the poo out all day. And here's a man about to throw his cast net. He's literally stood end of the outfall.
Maintain this thing here, so I don't know who is it really between the government and the mayor them and this kind of thing. And there's as a country like this, say, when we walk upon goal, we country shouldn't be in a situation like this. Say, it's like it's real shameful and terrible. You understand? And I talking to all them politicians, every one of them. You understand? Because none of them is standing up to it. None of them. All them just sit down and blind them out and nobody is standing up to it.
This country, I don't know. Everybody come, they're already looking at this side, you know. They looking at like them big buildings to put up 8, 9, 10 buildings around the place. Investment, yes. You can invest in a big dirty stinking country. Tell me now, you could invest in a big dirty stinking country, but it stinks.
Then you had your pocket full in a bills every morning. Now because you money done, you hustle for tell me morning. Yes, morning, neighbor. Morning, neighbor, morning.